Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Conscious Club podcast. I actually don't know what episode this is. It might be episode 4, I think. But anyway, it doesn't matter. My name is Areej, and
my name is Garett.
And we are the people who run this podcast. So we haven't made an episode or recorded an episode in a while. But today I just felt like wanting to do it, and I don't have any specific ideas about what this conversation is going to be about yet, but I do want to start. Sorry, Luna is walking around, and
we're just going to have to deal with it.
Okay, and if you're listening to the audio, if you want to see Luna walking around, you can watch this. The video is going to be uploaded on YouTube. So what I wanted to start off with today is talking about the concept of discipline and the topic of, because in previous episodes we spoke about like having a vision that you want to fulfill for yourself, like having goals and holding those goals no matter what. And when I recorded that podcast, that's kind of where I was. I was in the phase of really getting clear on what it was that I wanted to bring into my life. But now I'm at a phase where I'm actually doing it. I'm actually taking actions to support those visions, because back then it was like very up in the air. I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do. But I wasn't, I didn't yet have the like green light. I always say this, I have this like concept called intuitive green light, where if I want to do something, I know sometimes what I have to do, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like the right time to do that thing. And I kind of wait. So for example, if I'm like, I have a interesting video topic, right? I can have the topic like 1 week, and then I can be like, oh, should I film it today? Or should I post it now? And the answer I'll get is like, no, not yet. And then like a couple weeks later, that topic will come up again, and it's like, okay, now's the time to post it. Even though I had the idea a long time ago, I wasn't getting the go ahead from my inner guidance to actually do the thing or take the action. And then I got the intuitive green light later on. So that's what, like in the previous episodes where we were talking about vision making, I was still up in the conceptualization phase, and I wasn't getting the green light to actually go ahead and do anything. But now I am fully in the season of doing things. And when you're in this season, a lot of what I'm like really exploring the relationship that I have to the concept of discipline, and just like how it changes based on whether you're disciplining yourself to do something that you feel like you should be doing or something that someone else told you to be doing, versus having the discipline to do something that you kind of feel called to do by yourself, from yourself. Does this make sense? Does anything I'm saying make sense?
Something that you want to do rather than something that everyone else does.
Yeah, because I feel like people always talk about discipline when it comes to, I talk about hustle culture a lot. And a lot of the time, the concept of discipline is very intertwined with the concept of burnout. It's like, I had a really hard time committing to doing things, because in the past when I had to do things, they were always things that someone else told me to do, whether it was my family members or whether it was the school or an employer. It was like I had to do these things, but none of these things were things that I actually wanted to do, that I felt like they were fulfilling tasks to achieve. So when I had to discipline myself and actually sit down to do them and schedule them in and actually do them, it felt very forced. But now what I'm finding is that for tasks that I'm setting for myself, even though I'm doing the same things, I'm scheduling them in, and I'm like making sure that I show up for them and I'm committing to them, the feeling is not the same. It doesn't feel as forced, even though from the outside perspective, it looks like I'm doing the exact same. Does any of the, like, yeah, I feel like I can't.
I feel like we're basically talking about how there's like this hustle culture mentality that's out there, and people try and Luna's so distracting.
I know.
It's okay. Like there's a lot of people online, like influencers or like whatever, just anyone putting content online that boast like the fact that they're like hustling.
Yeah. They're
like working so hard and they're like, you know, busting their ass to do whatever it is that they're doing. But and then they like advertise and promote like their way of doing whatever it is that they're doing. But I feel like some of them are actually enjoying doing what they're doing, and then other people do that but are just doing it because they see like the people that are enjoying doing it and makes the people that don't enjoy it try it, and then it doesn't work. Or maybe it works for like a while, but they actually end up hating it, and then like 5 years down the line they're like, what did I do? Like, why did I waste all my time like working so hard at something I really don't even care that much about? So I think the main thing with discipline is the only way you'll have healthy discipline is by enjoying what it is that you're working on.
Yeah, and when you were saying that, I kind of thought about, it's like people who are following someone else's blueprint of success. So it's like you can run a business. Oh my goodness, Luna. Luna, come here. Come here. Sorry, I feel like we should have taken her next time. We should just take her out before so she's calm. Hold on, let me just grab her. Good girl. Okay. So I was thinking, like, it's like if you're following someone else's blueprint of how they run their business, even if it's the same business as you. So for example, if I'm running a coaching business and so is the coach that I learn from, if I follow her exact blueprint of the way she does things, that may work for me in the short term because like the way that she's doing things works, like practically, right? But it won't be sustainable long-term because I'm still trying to fit myself into somebody else's structure. So it's like what I'm really have been learning over the past couple of months is what my structure is, what kind of, like, how do I like to work? Like how many hours do I like to work? Do I like breaks? Do I not like breaks? Like what is my working style? And it's like, depending on what your working style is, that is going to determine what your blueprint of running a successful business is. Because, for example, someone who's really enjoying, like, for example, the classic example, like Elon Musk working 100 hours a week or whatever, that was very, like, romanticized, right? Because he's a successful person. And so people were like, oh, like, if Elon Musk is successful and he works 100 hours a week, then the only way for me to be successful is if I also work 100 hours a week. But not everyone has the capacity or the energy or the time to be spending on that, like, only on business. You know, like some people, maybe Elon Musk, like, prioritizes his business because he has an internal drive to spend time on this. Like, he's spending 100 hours a week, not because someone told him to, but because he just likes doing what he's doing so much that he would rather not do anything else. Like, I'm sure that if he's working 100 hours a week, if you ask him, he'd be like, yeah, there's nothing else that I'd rather be doing. But people try to, like, fake themselves into that mold and be like, oh, I need to start spending 100 hours a week on my business. Yeah. When in reality, they're, like, trying it and fitting themselves in, but they're just building up resentment to what they're doing, which is awful. Because,
and who knows, like, in the end, you might actually end up spending, maybe not 100 hours a week, but, like, more than the average person doing what it is that you do. But you have to build up to it. Yeah. You have to build up, like, the desire to actually want to do that. You can't just say, oh, all the successful people are working super long hours, therefore I need to start my career by working those long hours, because you'll break down. Yeah. You need to build the habits and add them one by one. Yeah. And the more you get into a topic too, the more you start to enjoy it.
Yeah, and it has to be an authentic desire.
Granted, you shouldn't, like, if you dislike a topic, you shouldn't like continue on that path with the expectation that you'll begin to enjoy it in the future.
Yeah.
You should already enjoy it at the start, but then as you progress, you'll probably enjoy it even more and more and more as you get better.
Yeah.
And feel more confident in what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. I like how you mentioned like building up the habits, because that's really like, that's so true, especially for me, because I didn't have, like, when I started my coaching business last September, even when I started my YouTube channel, like I didn't have the habits in place to be successful at being consistent, for example, on YouTube. Because to be consistent on YouTube, like only now in the past week or so, I've like actually been able to commit to filming consistently multiple times a week, whereas before I only had the capacity to film one time a week. And that's because the rest of my life wasn't, like, I wasn't taking care of myself well enough in the rest of my life. So I didn't have the energy to actually show up and film and do these extra things that I'd set out for myself. Like, even one of the things is so basic, but I didn't used to not like prioritize feeding myself. And so I would, like, I don't eat 3 meals a day, but I do eat like 2 meals, and I have to have a meal like a couple hours after I wake up, and then another one, like a bigger one at dinner. And if I miss the meal in the middle of the day, and if I only have the dinner meal, then it really affects like my productivity the entire day, because you literally need energy from food resource. But it's like things like that. Like, I had to figure out how to make sure that I was eating regularly before I could commit to taking on more clients on top, and commit to like making consistent YouTube videos. But how, going back to working style, something else that I feel like it's really been my own journey to figure out is I work very little. Like, when it comes to like what work looks like to me, how do I say this? So it's like, in reality, I feel like I'm working all the time, because every single moment of my life informs the content that I create, and every single moment of my life and everything, that all the information I consume is what is informing what I put back out and what I create. And I do talk a lot about lifestyle. So that, like, every moment I'm like working. But when it comes to like actually doing like what we traditionally see as working, which is usually like sitting in front of a computer or doing that, like maybe admin work or design work, or do you know, like that kind of definition of work, I can only
explicitly tasked things.
Yes, I can only do maybe like 2 hours at a time, like with a focused work. And that has been hard to deal with, because like when you grow up in the culture that we're in, where everyone's expected to conform to the 9-to-5 model, which is literally like, even if you can only focus for 2 hours at a time, how the hell do you fit yourself successfully into a 9-to-5 model? Like, you can try it, you can force it, but it really drained the shit out of me. Like, it's so hard for me to sit in the same spot for the entire day. It just drains the shit out of me, and I feel like it just doesn't work, and my work isn't good.
Yeah, but do you need to do any more than you're doing already?
No.
So then it doesn't matter. I
know it doesn't matter, but I'm saying like I had to come to terms with the fact that I just had a different working style. And that the 9-to-5 model, it's like there's nothing wrong with me for not being able to uphold that.
But like, what would that even mean for you to be doing that traditional work? You wouldn't be doing the same work that you're doing now.
Yeah, I know, but the work that I'm doing now is specifically designed in alignment with my working style. Like, if I was to work a job, like, that was the other path, right? If I was to continue down the computer science line and work at like a traditional job, it'd be really hard for me to fit myself into even the two, like, last year when I was working 2 days a week full time, like 9-to-5, those 2 days were so hard to get through. Because I think like if I really forced it, I could get myself to do like 4 hours at a time. But then anything after 4 hours was like me just staring at a screen. Like,
well, yeah, especially in computer science, that would tend to happen to like people who are just starting out. You get used to it, and then it becomes not so difficult. But
I don't know. That's what I don't think that.
But you really didn't do it for that long. Like you did.
But I think you can only get used to it if there's, again, that internal desire to get used to it. Like if there's an internal desire within you that says, oh, you want to continue pursuing computer science, or you want to continue pursuing this like corporate ladder, then you could get used to it, I think. But
maybe, but I mean, when I was working my first jobs in computer science, I knew that I didn't want to be working for a company like the company I was working on working at, and it took like a few months for me to get comfortable at that job.
But I think even
eventually I got like comfortable enough to like be able to get through it.
Yeah, but I feel like I had the Terry Fox job for 4 months straight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a full-time 9 to 5. And like, how long does it, like, even menial tasks like that, like my brain would just like leave in the middle of it.
But you still were able to get through it.
Well, yeah, because there's no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying it's not like it's not in alignment with like who the work style that that I like excel in. And I think that people don't realize that different people have like another thing is that you've always been it's been natural, it has come naturally to you to sit on a computer all day.
Mm-hmm.
Like you did it when like I did it too, but I never like explicitly like Luna. I don't know, like I feel like you okay, so explain how you work. I explained how I work, so explain how you work. Like just explain a day in your life.
Well, I get up, shower, get on my computer, take the dog out, and stay on my computer for the rest of the day. Maybe go on a run. Like I can focus for a long time.
He's like a robot when it comes to
but it wasn't always like that. Here's an example. When I started programming when was the first program I wrote? I think it was in middle school. I think it would have been in middle school. Maybe grade 8 or something like that. Could have been grade 7 or 8. Like I did it. I did it on my own accord too, which was fine. But I like wanted to look into programming, basically. I had an interest in doing that. So I wrote my own stuff and I finished it and I was like, oh great, like I finished a project. It was like a simple calculator with a visual interface with Java. And then like very simple operations, right? Like addition, mm-hmm. subtraction, multiplication, division. I finished it and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I was like, well, that was like difficult. And then I stopped for like a few years. And I just didn't have the drive at the time. Like I'd rather do something else.
Yeah.
Granted, I'd always had, like I had bad focus at school, but I had good focus for the things that I want to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that was like playing games, mostly it was playing games for like high school. I played a lot of video games and I put a lot of effort and focus into being good at those games. And then in university, I didn't even work that hard in university, but then at the end when I got into machine learning, then I started really enjoying that. And so then I put a lot of effort into that. It's only the things that I enjoy a lot that I can but when focus on for like hours at a time.
So when you are in that state of you're doing it, do you feel like you're working hard?
No.
Yeah. I think that's one of the
it's
main
because it's
points.
like it's difficult. Well, okay, you can feel like you're working hard, but you still enjoy doing the work.
Yeah, it's not like this, like, what did you say earlier? It's not like you're grinding, right? Like, it's like on the outside, it looks like you're grinding because you're putting in effort and you're taking action. But when you're in it, it's more of like a flow state. It's like you wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
So as you're saying that, I'm thinking maybe it's less about work styles, or it's not that everyone has a specific template that they can work as. It's more just like everyone just has specific things that they're interested in, and those specific interests lead to different styles of working. So for example, if you're in computer science and it's like you're coding a project, you can spend a long time focused on it. But if you're someone like me and your work, or what you're focusing on building, a business that you're building is related to something like content creation or coaching, like the day-to-day scheduling of that looks very different.
Yeah.
And so it's not like everyone...
The schedule builds up around the goal.
Yeah. But then because you're interested in a specific goal, and because you're driven to achieve that goal, and you're driven to, like, you automatically like kind of fall into the work structure
that is required to achieve that goal.
And you like that, and that becomes like the work structure that you feel like you align with.
You'll just do whatever is necessary to achieve the goal that you actually want to achieve.
Yeah, that's true. Because like even when it comes down to the smaller details of the tasks you like doing and you don't, like, for example, I love filming videos, but I hate editing. And I used to think that I had to spend like hours editing. Like, I used to like actually spend hours editing because I just assumed that, I don't know, like I wanted it to be perfect or something. And so I would film a video, and then I would spend like, my early videos, like, bro, they took like they took a long time, at least 8 hours of editing after that. For some reason, I don't even know what I was doing.
Straight?
No, not straight, but I'm saying in total, like, the amount of time that it took me to get from filming to actually posting was so long, because I was putting in all this extra work for myself, because I was trying to follow other YouTubers' templates of YouTubing.
Yeah.
Right? And so I would like be like, oh, I have to make a vlog. And then a vlog is like way harder to edit than just a sit down video, because you're compiling all these clips together and making sure that it's like a cohesive storyline. And then I realized, like, I actually freaking hate editing, and I hate, like, when I sit on a computer too long. Maybe Garett's right, like, maybe if I had the drive to do it, and I mean, I feel like you're right, but I don't have the drive to sit at a computer for that long. Like, I feel like I'm wasting time by not doing things and experiencing things in my reality. So when I sit on a computer for, like, hours at a time, I get really lightheaded and just, like, nauseous. And so I had to figure out a way to, it's like I still wanted to make YouTube videos, but I don't want to spend that much time editing. And obviously one of the things you can do is hire an editor. I'm not at the place yet where I want to invest in an editor. So I was like thinking of other things that I could do. And I'm like, wait, why don't I just not feel like I need to edit that much? And then as soon as I made that as a rule, I'm like, oh, actually, I don't need, like, actually it's better for my audience, to be honest, if they see a raw version of me, instead of me trying to make everything look perfect, because perfect is also subjective. And then that literally now I can film and post in a day. Yeah,
I feel like the main thing people have to do is figure out, like, what's your actual goal?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? And then try not to, like, let's say what you're trying to do is something that other people do. Try not to, or somehow it's related to what other people are doing. Like, try not to force yourself into the same thing or the same processes that other people use. Like, you can definitely try the things that other people do, but if it's not working for you, then don't continue doing it.
Yeah.
If your goal is like one thing, I just want to make videos, then it doesn't matter if you start and you feel like your videos aren't that great, because eventually like once you build the habit, you'll be able to put in the time to figure out like how you'll change your process to make it better and make your videos better and everything. So, but the most important thing, if your goal is to make videos, you just have to start making them, even if you feel like they're subpar, because that gives you the chance to iterate on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so hard. Like, I remember when I first started filming YouTube videos, it's so hard or just producing content, it's so hard to watch yourself. Like, when you're not used to watching yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this is so cringe. Like, I don't know how I'm going to post this. And then it's like sitting with those feelings of thinking that you look cringe or that you're talking weird or that, oh my God, like, is that really what I look like? Or is that really how I fucking talk? Like, that is so annoying. It's like sitting with those, but still posting, because your long-term goal is you want to post content. And so it's like being okay with the fact that it's a process and that most of the fun actually, like, I know it's like so cliche to say like, it's in like the reward is in the process, not the journey. It's cliche because you said the process, not the journey, not the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like that, it's a cliche because it actually holds very deep truth. Like, one of the things that I believe is that we're here to experience the fulfillment of our desires, but we're not, it's not necessarily like, I mean, we're here to experience the whole path of it. Because the whole path of getting from point A to point B has its own like value.
Yeah. If you're just chasing like money, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to want more.
Yeah. And it's also
and if you just think about it, like stop and think for a second. Like, what are you actually doing in a day? Like, think about what your day actually looks like. And is that the day that you want to have? Because it's those days that you're going to keep having.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what happens, you're going to get up in the morning. You're going to, like, maybe have a shower, or you have a shower at night or something. You're going to eat.
It's your day.
And then what are you going to do? Like, because you're still just a person.
Yeah.
Right? So
even if you're doing,
if you zoom out and look at like the world as if it's like a sim game or something. Like, if you just sit in space or sit in a plane or a blimp stationary and just watch for a week what people are doing. They're just like going back and forth between their job and their home. And then like the life is whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, basically, I always make this joke is like, life is just moving things around in different ways. You're moving thoughts around, you're moving objects around, and that's what life is. So you got to figure out some way of moving things around that you find really pleasurable for some weird reason.
Yeah.
And realize that it's not like your brain likes to project like these like scenarios that you want to achieve in the future. Like, oh, it'd be just great if I could, go to this restaurant. Or it'd be fantastic if I could like go on this trip or whatever. And yeah, trips are really nice, but the thing that is gonna happen is you're like, it's only as good as once you get there, what are you doing in the moment once you're there? And so you have to stop and like recognize what you're doing in the moment rather than continuously projecting forward.
Yeah, because you can achieve the trip, get to the trip, and then
be like,
during the
what?
trip, you're thinking about the next. It's like, oh shit, like now I want to do this. So it's like you achieved the trip and you're there, but now your brain is not in the present moment.
Yeah, your brain's already thinking about what it wants to do next. You're like, what am I going to do when I get back? And all of a sudden, you're focused on, the next thing.
And that's like the heart. I think that's what is like in spiritual tradition, it's like that, like that's kind of the root of all suffering is like your mind. It literally is never like, unless you kind of tame your mind, no matter how much external success you receive, you will find suffering in some moment. Like the Anyway, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that what you were saying about the day-to-day. It literally is about the day-to-day. And I talk a lot about how in the past year, my life has shifted so much. And part of the reason for that is because what really caused, there was a lot of shifts going on mentally, but what really caused shifts in my actual external reality was the daily habits that I kind of developed for myself. And even finding the daily habits that worked for me was a process. I feel like I see ads for these apps that are what's your personality type? We'll give you a morning routine that's going to work perfectly with your Myers-Briggs personality type. And you can start with that, and you can see what they offer you, and you can see what other people are doing in their morning routines, and you can read there's so many books of people being this is the morning routine of billionaires, and projecting out the concept that only if you do it like this that you're going to be a billionaire.
It's more if you become a billionaire, this is maybe what your morning routine would look like because of the situation you're now in.
Yeah, but also it's for some reason everyone also really romanticizes waking up at 5 a.m. Yeah, sure, if you really want to wake up at 5 a.m.
Well, if you want to wake up because you want to do something.
Yeah, but the thing is, for example, our schedule has been weird and shifted. We wake up late, probably 10 to 12, depending on the day, and then we stay up till 1 to 3 a.m. So it's we're still awake for a regular amount of hours, but we're shifted. But it's that's just what's working for us at this time. Mm-hmm. And we're as productive as someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. and goes to sleep at 8 p.m. Actually, I'm having more enjoyment because we play games with our friends from usually 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. And if we woke up at 5 a.m. and slept at 8 p.m., we would miss out on that opportunity to socialize. But anyway, it's the day-to-day habits for me. For example, my coach Adriana, this was the most life-changing thing. It's so simple, but it's so life-changing. She said, I was doing her group program, and one of the weeks, the self-mastery homework was to come up with 3 non-negotiable morning routine actions and 3 non-negotiable night routine. And at the time, I wasn't ready yet to commit to a night routine as well as a morning routine because I'd neither. So I started with just, it's the main thing is also make it as easy as you can, and most, don't add more stress to your life. This is supposed to help you, not make it harder for you to live. Mm-hmm. So I kind of ignored the night routine for a couple weeks, and I just started with the morning routine and tried to start stabilizing the morning routine. And it was 3 non-negotiables, and you can make them as easy as you want. I don't know what I think my first task, one original blueprint of my morning routine was the first thing was drink water. So easy. Mm-hmm. And then it was brush my teeth, and then it was it was brush my teeth, go to the bathroom right away. Because I used to spend hours in bed in the morning. Do you remember that?
Yes.
On my phone.
I couldn't figure out how you could do that.
Yeah, I used to wake up, and then I used to spend 3 hours on my phone in the morning.
I'm sure a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I think it's very common, but because it's so easy to just
especially
go on and check what's going on.
On weekends and things like that.
Yeah.
When people don't have to go anywhere, they just kind of wake up and go on their phone. And honestly, it's fine. If you're enjoying it, then whatever.
It's fine. But if you're not enjoying it, I wasn't enjoying it, I felt like I was a slave to it.
It becomes a habit, and then you get addicted to the habit.
Yeah. So the third thing that I had, so it was drink water, go to the bathroom right away. So brush my teeth and do my morning ritual. That's still preserved in this culture. The ritual of brushing your teeth. But anyway, the third thing was not to go on airplane mode, to leave my phone on airplane mode at night and then not turn it off airplane mode until I had
done your morning routine.
Yeah. Or until I had enough time in the morning, however long that it needed to take me to get myself into a state where I was myself. And that usually, I think I might have meditated, or I used to stretch or do something that it was because going right into getting information from others through social media, it really bombards your brain in the morning. and it sets your day up. Like, it just hits different. Your day hits different. When I like tune into what everyone else is doing and tune into what everyone else is saying, I kind of lose a part of myself for that day, and then I'm less focused during the day on my own things because my brain is now processing all this information that it got from other people that was unnecessary to me, but I was just so used to and addicted to going on my phone and seeing and receiving that information.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed over the past couple years, I guess, was that like I enjoy learning things, but sometimes I go on and just like learn or like watch random videos about so many different things in the morning, and then that kind of like adds all these different facts into your brain that are unrelated to what you're actually trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've tried to like notice if I'm watching something that's interesting to me, I start asking like, this is cool. And like I'll definitely, I still watch a lot of like random videos about different things that aren't directly related to my field, but I like try and limit it and think like every once in a while, is this thing I'm watching something that I'm actually going to be able to use in my life in some way? And if I say no to that question, then I tend to like click off and go back to learning something that it's actually going to apply in my near future.
Yeah. But then
near or medium term future.
But then you do still watch, like I still like breaks. So when you're taking breaks, you can still watch videos that are not relate.
Of course, yeah.
Are you just talking about like in the morning? Like at the beginning part of your day?
No, because sometimes like I'll be working on something and then I'll have like a talk or like a science video up or something like that. So like I might be like doing a machine learning project and I have like a video open about like nuclear power or something.
Okay,
or, like,
yeah.
And then I'm like, wait,
I see.
Am I actually going to use this soon? Like maybe I'll use it like when I have money and I can make some investments or something, but right now I see. I can't take any action based on it, so I'll try and put on something that's more related to what I'm actually doing. I
see. So it's like you try not to dive too deeply into topics that you can't really do anything about in the moment. Yeah. Because it gives your mind too much to process.
Yeah. And sometimes it's useful because you'll look at like, there's a saying that like advancements always come from the intersection of two disciplines. So like you'll see something. Like for me, like I said, I watch a lot of educational stuff. So I'd say I was watching something about like biosciences or like some technique that they're using to develop some drug or something like that. And maybe there's some aspect of that that's applicable to what I'm doing. Like a lot of the times there's like cross-pollination of ideas between disciplines. And can be super useful. So I don't like cut it out entirely, but like that's where you'll find most opportunities too for new ideas. But I don't cut it out entirely, but I try and stay a little bit more on topic.
Yeah, so it's like similar to what I always preach. This is like be really mindful of the information that you're consuming and the content that you're consuming. And it's like for you, it comes down to topics. But for me, like I discern whether content is good for me or not good for me based on how it makes me feel. Because I'm like my main goal at the core of everything is to maintain a more uplifted state of being. So that if I can get myself to stay in the stable state of uplifted, like a sense of like someone who's I feel peaceful and joyful, and it's like that's my main goal at the bottom of it, at the core of it. And then once that's stabilized, then I can help my clients. Then I can show up on YouTube and like post like content that uplifts other people. But for me, it's like anytime I watch anything, like I have to not watch TV shows. Like I have to stop myself from watching TV shows that maybe explore darker themes, because even though they're really interesting and I appreciate the thought and the creativity that went into creating these like shows, if it makes me feel less than uplifted and less than peaceful, and it starts introducing darker themes and darker energies into me, then it's hard for me to go on and do the things that that I've set out to do. So it's like you talk like in terms of cutting out content that's not serving based on topic, and then I'm like based on feeling, based on the vibe of it, based on the intentions of the people, of like what themes that are exploring, like what are the ideas and energies that I'm letting into my space. That's really important. And that it's like that's in terms of content that you watch or you read or etc., but it's also the people that you interact with. Like if you're speaking to someone who's like, you have to kind of be really mindful about what perspectives you're letting into your own mind, because your mind can take a perspective and then like build a whole storyline around it, and you can get into some really dark places just because you were watching too many dark things, right? Yeah, I think I'm gonna I think we should cut this now because I have a float tank appointment. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah. Do you have any last thing to say?
No, I think it was good.
Yeah.
Good little talk.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to learn about sensory deprivation tanks, leave a comment and maybe we'll talk about it in the next episode. Yeah, because that's something that I think Garett and I first did it last December. And then he's done it that one time, and then I've continued to do it every month, basically. Yeah, I would love to share about that at some point and why I choose to invest in that. So yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and we love you. Mwah.